Looking forward to it, folks. I have got a little bit of a sketch. I'll kind of show you the sketch. It's here. It's all sketched in. Let me get a bit closer in because we are. If you're watching this after the broadcast, we are sort of doing it live. So I've got a sketch. Some of you might want to take a screen grab of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the screen a little bit darker. Just in case you decide that you want to kind of take a screen grab after, maybe kind of re-watch, because it's quite hard to see. So if I do that and that, you can see the sketch better. So what I've done, I also go very dark at this point. And so what we've done is I've put this horizon line in, which is, I don't know, about just below halfway. I've sketched in this little boat here again, so you know you can do a screen grab and enjoy this. We've got the little cliffs here, and we're going to enjoy this. We're going to enjoy this. So I'll sort of leave that on screen right there, so you can take that little screen grab if you want to, if you're watching it back at a future time. If you are watching it in the future, do make sure you let me know what the lottery numbers are, because I'd love to know. For next week's lottery numbers, put it in the comments and we can all have a dabble. Can't we? We can all have a dabble. We can have a dabble. That went down well. And we're going to go through the materials. But before we do that, I just want to sort of mention what's happening on this Search Press event, because we've got a few things that are a really good offer, and it does end today. So if you want to pick up some really good savings on my watercolour books, I've got my books down here to have a little flick through. I will be painting soon. So we'll be doing, I've got my books here, my Search Press books. The Watercolour Companion, love this one. You can get, basically you can get 30% off of this. You enter code capital letters ART30, ART30. Now this is on searchpress.com. You can go straight to my page by looking in the link for the post of this video, so you can get straight to it, and you can get 30% off a limited time, obviously, because the festival does end today. So the Watercolour Companions, I love a little tips and tricks books, colour mixing. It's designed for holding up, you know, like if you're out and about painting, you sort of hold it up next to the scene and you think, well, that's the right green, you know, so that's the colour I want to mix. I love the little pocket book. I love that one. It's got a little viewfinder as well. That is a beautiful thing. Watercolour Mountains, take 3 colours, so it's a series that just uses 3 colours. You get 9 paintings in that book. Again, you can get 30% off all of this. This is the special one, folks. This is the one you want to take advantage of, because this is the brand new one. It's the 10th anniversary edition that we've done here with Search Press. So it's a special collector's 10 years edition, 10th anniversary, over 100,000 copies sold. This is a belter, because not only is this book all about you know, getting your essential watercolour tips and tricks in place, but it's full. There's about 40% new content on the original release. It's a special edition version. All beautiful step-by-step book, folks. And in the middle of this book, if you have a look at the centre here, you've actually got these fold-out tracings for all the projects as well, so you can actually sort of get those folded out. So that's a really cool little book, that one. So you really need to get hold of that one, because that has got 30% off, which is amazing, really. And again, the code is ART, ART30. Don't hang around though, because I don't know how long the offer's running for. I'll kind of show you how to get on it. We'll start painting soon. Watercolour animals, love painting animals. This one came out last year, this one. Got the panda there, the beautiful painting of the sea turtle there, Crush from Finding Nemo. And you got the leopard there. Is it a leopard or is it a cheetah? Cheetah. Great at exams. And then you've got the parrot, Polly. Sad story about Polly. Polly actually flew into a washing machine, full cycle. Took them 3 hours to get Polly unsaturated. But when it came out, I gave him some painkillers. Well, we couldn't find any, but because the parrots had eaten them all. How to Draw Animals. That's a good book. And then landscapes, watercolour landscapes as well. step-by-step book all about watercolour landscapes, folks. So do check out my back catalogue. Love the scene of Venice. Look at that. Remember, these do come with the fold-out tracings as well. Gorgeous scene of Venice there. So do jump in and have a look at, folks. All the books, 30% off. Just quickly want to show you how to take advantage of that. What you do is you go to the link that's in the description. It's the Search Press Virtual Art Festival 2025. This is the actual page, okay? So here it is. And all the information is on there on how to get the discounts, the code that you need to enter. You get free postage and packaging as well, plus 30% off. You've got to spend over £15 though to get the discount. So if you get a couple of my books, you can get, with code ART30, ART30, you can get 30% off orders over £15 pre-discount, plus you get free shipping as well. That is from the Search Press virtual festival website, my own little page, so you need to go and visit that, folks. I have put the link for that in the actual description below, so that's really cool. So do take advantage of that. Let me move the books out of the way. So that's all my books there you can get. Now, if you like, if you want to buy any materials just before we start painting, you can also jump onto watercolour.tv. That's the website there. That's my own art shop. We have an exclusive range of products, brushes, paints, palettes, paper, that have been around for about 15 years now. I've put a little bit of a code together so you can get a discount on that should you want to do that as well. So let me show you the code. So the code is just over here. So 10% off everything until midnight this Saturday, which is the 26th. So midnight this Saturday. That code right there, again, I'll pop the links in the description for everybody so you can get straight to it. That code there, 10 off 10OFF, will take 10% off anything you buy from Watercolour.tv. Watercolour.tv, not Search Press. That's a different code. This is for any of the products, papers, books, or anything that you'd like to pick up. Okay, so do take advantage of that code. You might want to join me for a virtual workshop. We've got one coming up this Sunday, which will be the 27th, and we're going to paint a watercolour of the Grand Canal, Venice, with gondolas and the Rialto Bridge. That's a virtual workshop that you can watch at any time. So a few things to enjoy. But other than that, we're going to start painting, folks. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to use some of this stuff, which is called Watercolour Magic Mask. Now, Watercolour Magic Mask is my own little massively improved version of masking fluid, okay? You can get 10% off this if you like. It's a coloured masking fluid in a lovely tempered glass bottle. Comes with a free video. It comes with brushes as well, special brushes. The great thing about Magic Mask, give it a shake, is that it doesn't ruin your brushes, and it is heat resistant as well. So what Matthew Palmer's Watercolour Magic Mask is designed for keeping areas of your paper fresh and clean. And we're going to put some of this on this picture. So we'll take the lid off here. Lovely stuff. I'm going to put this on before we do anything. And it basically repels the watercolour, but then you can remove it. It's really nice. So I want to put this on a few areas. It does come with brushes too, so you can pick up all that stuff should you wish. And you can use that code 10 off until midnight on the 26th as well. So let's go in and let's paint in the boat. Let's paint in the boat here. Now I'm putting this on pretty quickly for today because I want to whiz through this. You can actually, traditional masking fluid, which this isn't, you wouldn't use a heat gun or hairdryer, especially wouldn't use a heat gun with it, but this stuff you can. It's really good. And of course what's important about it is you can see where you stick it, which, as I've learnt in my many years on this planet, that's quite important to know where you stick it. So we are going to stick this stuff on, and I've not got to worry about my brush clogging up. I mean, if I left it on there for 15-20 minutes it would clog up, but traditional masking fluid, after about 2 minutes, if even less, your brushes are knackered. Can we say knackered? With a silent K. and get away with it. Where this stuff's not, I'll leave it on for 10-15 minutes and you'll be fine, but any longer than that and then I'd be cleaning your brush. But you can see what we've done. We've put it on. I'm also going to mask off this little bit of a sort of wave here as well. I think it'd be quite nice. So I'm quite proud of this. About a year's worth of development's gone into this to get it right, folks. It's quite special stuff, so do enjoy this here. I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to make it look as though it's wavy. So it goes across. Again, the books that I've done with Search Press, I've been working with Search Press now for 11-12 years. It's been a pleasure to work with everybody. Big shout out to everybody at Search Press if anybody's from Search Press is watching. We're going to go in and we're going to bring that through. Straight through there. So I'm protecting it all. You might notice a few splatters because I keep sort of tapping my brush on the side because I want to get some splatters on this. I want to get a bit of, a bit of sort of frothy type stuff. So I'm also doing a bit of a spatter. You can see where I'm sort of tapping the brush against the thing there, which is quite good. Now, I've always shied away from using this on demos because, not Magic Mask, but old school fluid because the drying time. But with this, I've not got to shy away from it because I can get my heat gun on the job. Put a few lines going further back, a few little bits of waves and things, a few horizontal lines. Can't go wrong, can you? You can smell the excitement in the studio. I think that's what it is. A few little dots and spots around the bottom there. A few little foreground wiggles and ripples. I'm literally just painting fluid on. And I've not cleaned my brush yet, have I? You can even create a little hint of a reflection of the boat as well at the same time. This is only available, this stuff's only available for watercolour.tv, folks, so do enjoy it. If you want to get hold of it. It lasts ages, these little bottles do. So you can actually paint outside in the baking sunshine with this and it won't bond to your paper, it will survive. You can leave it on for 10-14 days and then it'll still come off, which you can't with normal fluid. So that's got a reflection of the boat a little bit, a little hint of reflection of the boat there. And a few little bits underneath the wave just to give some added movement. Because I want to go for a nice kind of turquoise sea, but it's important that I've used masking fluid first of all, because that to me is quite important on this particular scene that we're painting here. So that should have enough of that on there, I would have thought. Let's come back with the camera a little bit so you can see where we are, but I think we're good. Now I want to give my brush a rinse at this point, and you'll see that the brush is, look at that, wanging the camera there, but you can see it's come off fine. Look at that, nice, isn't it? It just picks off. It doesn't bond to your bristles. Try saying that after a gin and tonic. It's good stuff. You'll enjoy using that, you will. So that's what we've got there. Pop that to one side. Now I'm just going to very quickly grab the old heat gun / hair dryer, give this a bit of a blast. This is a bit like watching paint dry, so why not have a look around on the website? Why not jump on the link in the description and have a look at the 30% off if you spend over £15. That was fun. So I've used a pretty intense heat gun. These are available from Amazon. I've got no discount code for Amazon. Any bits that you don't want where the splatters when, you can just take them off, whip them off. That's ready to go. What I'm going to do here, by the way, I'm just going to pop this little masking tape roll underneath the top of the board. I do feel like I want to just kind of have that extra slope to the board before I start painting. We'll come back with a camera and then we will start painting. Okay, so let me start off. The materials I'm using are my own materials. Okay, again, you've got that code 10 off 10OFF to get 10% off anything you like. We've got natural Seascape turquoise, that's here, beautiful color. We've got some primary colors, natural blue, natural red, yellow light. I'll mention the colors as we go through, but what I want to do first is use my large Super Point brush, which is Matthew Palmer's Super Point brush large, believe it or not. The water, I've been a bit lazy, I've not cleaned the water from yesterday's workshop that I did, so, but you know what, it'll be right. I'm saving the planet. There's an hosepipe ban on in Yorkshire. There is. Luckily I'm not in Yorkshire. So I'm cleaning the brush and I'm going to wet the paper top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. A couple of times. Water's still clear. Yesterday I painted a stained glass window. Not literally, a picture of one. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, don't you? Got a stray hair there. Any stray hairs, just push them away. I'm not sure if that's a pubic hair, that one. No, it can't be. It's a bit springy. We'll cut that bit out. What we'll do is we'll put the water on. A couple of coats of water, to be fair, about right for this. You can see how already the fluid's repelling the paint. That's what we want this thing to do. So beautiful coverage with a big brush. I do want to just use a size 10 brush, so this is my size 10/medium Super Point brush to paint in a lovely sky, maybe with a slight summer's evening vibe to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my natural colours. These are all available on the website, watercolour.tv. We've got natural orange, beautiful natural orange, gorgeous autumnal colour. You can use primary colours for this if you want to. Mix your own colours. You don't have to use the colours I'm talking about, but I want to get plenty of colour coming up, so I want to sweep up. And you can see what the masking fluid is doing at this point. It is lovely. It's repelling the paint, which is what we want it to do. We want it to repel the paint. Let's get a bit closer in because we are live from Derbyshire. Saturday night. Bring it in, and then we'll come slightly down into the water. Just a smidge. A smidge. Beautiful. Look at that. I like the angle. You know, it's gone from horizontal into a vertical. Go back here, clean the brush again. This time we're going to take some natural violet, which is over here. Beautiful natural violet, gorgeous for evening skies, gorgeous for bluebells, snow scenes. Lovely, gorgeous, one of my favourite colours actually. I love natural violet. It's a very subtle violet with a silent B, which is same as swimming with a silent P. And it's a lovely, it's a lovely colour, and just sort of bring it down, sweep it over the top. I want plenty of this colour. This is quite key. Plenty of the colour wants to come around there, you know, around the old yacht, because that's going to make the masking fluid pop forward. You see, so it's quite important to do that. Bring a little bit of that into the water. I do want to get a bit of variation in there, but before I do that, I just want to clean the brush, and I want to use this absolutely gorgeous colour called Matthew Palmer's Natural Seascape Turquoise. Look at that. Lovely summery, beautiful turquoise colour. Gorgeous for your seascapes. You can't go wrong with it, really. And we're going to bring that in through the water, straight over the masking fluid, down over the yacht, make that yacht stand for. Look at that, God. It's such a nice colour, that. I love that. It's one of my favourites. Bring it across. Horizontal sweeps is what we're interested in with this turquoise. Bring it through. You can see the vibrancy. You can see, hopefully you can also see that I'm trying to keep my brush strokes, where possible, horizontal. I shall come back to the water in a minute, but that's quite a good starting point. Again, I've got plenty of colour around here. I will be getting a bit more colour around there later on. But let's come back to the sky, because what I'd like to do is grab some natural grey, the colour of shadows. Very important is natural grey for a bit of a silhouette kind of sky, cloud. Tap it on tissue. Size 10 brush, medium Super Point is what I'm using. So I want to do a little bit of a twisty cloud. And just going to bring it in. Just get one over here as well. sort of rotating the brush as I do this, like a little bit of a wiggle. Like a wiggle of the brush. And we'll bring that one over there like that. So a couple of little silhouette clouds. See, that's also quite nice to bring them over the top of the boat, because that'll make the boat stand forward even more. When we take off that magic mask a bit later, that'll give us a lovely effect of the dark contrast. It's a bit like a easy version of negative painting, really. Real. I want to bring some of this into the water in a second, but before I do that, I just want to soften some of these and put some light in the sky. And the way we do this, very simply, is to actually just kind of clean the brush, really, keeping this thing nice and straightforward. You've not got to be too concerned about this. What you do is you clean the brush really well. You give it a squeeze through your tissue, so you've got that sort of flat brush. And you go in and you can just sort of lightly soften away any hard bits that you're not wanting. Like, you know, on the bottom of the cloud, you can just give it a bit of a soften. Just giving it a bit of a blend. So it's got plenty of dark around the boat. Let's get a little bit there. Some smaller clouds. But I've just given it a bit of a tickle, so it's kind of softened it in. If I bring some of that grey into the water next, natural grey, you can mix this grey from primary colours. I wouldn't be using Payne's grey. It's way, way too black. It's got black pigments in it. We don't want that. But what we do want is we want some darkness underneath the waves. So we'll get some of that, because that'll make those waves stand forward. My water is still wet, which is good for water, because the water should be wet. So we'll get plenty of that darkness around that wave, because these colours are going to leap off. You know, when we take that magic mask off, it's going to pop, it's going to pow off the page. Can't go wrong, really. You smell the excitement, can't you? Lots of little horizontal lines. Now this needs a little bit of time to dry before I can do anything else, folks. All I'm going to do is just make sure that there's no definite hard lines where there shouldn't be. I do kind of want to go a little bit darker with the grey. I've got a real strong natural grey there. That's natural grey. It's called natural grey bracket shadow colour, which is exactly what it is. It's the official colour of shadows from the National Shadow Society, which is not even a thing. It's something I've just literally, genuinely made up. 100% authorised by a non-existent shadow authorisation, because it's such a good colour. No matter, it probably is the shadow agency. It sounds like something from the FBI. We'll get that working, and that's going to pop. That's going to leap. That's going to leap off the page. I'm excited to see that. Are you? It's my life. I get excited about seeing stuff. What I want to do, folks, I'm going to give this a dry. This is literally like watching paint dry. I have to be careful when I use this heat gun on this camera, because I'm doing this. It looks a bit dodgy, so I'll do it on this camera. I should say that once the painting's dry enough to touch, put your hand on it, so actually flatten it down like this. So I've I've seriously attacked this magic mask with heat, which is not something you want to do with normal masking fluid or the likes of Pebeo drawing gum, because it will not come off. What I want to do now is start to work on the background a little bit, folks. I'm not going to take the fluid off just yet. We are getting to that stage. But what I want to do here is I'm going to come back to the grey, but slightly dilute it. So I've got a pale grey, still with a size 10 brush. And we're going to go along the horizon line to make that look a little bit crisper. So take that along that edge and get a few, you know, kind of reflections going underneath the little sort of cliffs. Just sort of keep your lines horizontal. You can see I'm sweeping across using the tip of the brush. You can go straight through the masking fluid because of what it is. And that allows me to get a few little random lines around this thing. If I clean the brush at that point, just in water, give it a couple of taps on tissue, I can go in and just sweep across horizontally into the scene. So just give it a tap, tappy tap taps. So that's got a lovely effect. I want to make sure we're nice and dark underneath those waves, so I just want to get a little bit of extra grey underneath those waves. I'm just using the tip of the brush, and that way I know it's going to stand out quite nicely. Brill. Okay, that's great. I want to work on the cliffs next. We've got this sort of distant cliff over there. I think I'd probably change brushes at this point though. I'm going to go for a size 6 brush, which is, in my particular world, it's called a Matthews Small Super Point. Again, grey, not massively strong for this grey. There it is, quite pale, natural grey. It's made from primary colours, we know that. Let's lose the tape. We don't need that tape anymore today. Well, can't go wrong with this. It's a useful trick, you know. Wipe your brush on the side of your palette before you apply it to your paper. I want to create some distant cliffs here, so we're going to go in. I'm going to go along this edge. I want it to look a little bit misty, you know, a summer's evening. Clean brush, couple of taps. And then we're going to go for water and just fade that into the picture, because I want it to look as though it's got some depth to it. I want it to look misty and distant and that kind of thing. So we'll give it a bit of a fade. So if you look there, you've painted a distant cliff, distant hills, distant cliffs, whatever you want to call it. Once that's had a second or two to actually dry, that's when you can bring in that lovely effect of sort of semi-distant cliffs gradually working his way forward, which would be really nice. So I'm just going to give it a very quick dry. That'll bing bang go for that. And then this time I want to go for masking tape. Everything, no, forget masking tape. I don't want to use it. I'm just going to stick with the shape. Stick with the shape. Keep it simple. We'll go for natural grey, a little bit stronger with the grey this time though. Just a little bit stronger for the grey. Because what I want to do here, I want to rotate the board. I want to be dark now. I'm going deeper because I've almost got like a nighttime scene, right? So I want to go along the horizon on both of these cliffs. Just whiz along that edge. And bring it up towards the top there. Put a few little random bits in. That's how we're looking so far. Let's make sure that's got a nice clean edge along there. So that's natural grey. You can clearly see that the colour's a bit darker. Bring a few little bits up. What we'll do here is we'll bring some orange into this. So that's that natural orange that we was using earlier on. We'll get some of that, and I want it to mix. I want to get a bit of warmth, stony sort of colour, red sandstone, whatever. And I'm literally mixing the colours on the page here. I want the colours to become part of what's there. I'll keep flirting between the two colours, so I'll put the palette on the top of the screen for you there so we can see what we're doing. We'll get some more grey, because it is you know, after all, it's like an evening kind of scene that we're going for. Back to the orange. You can literally, you can pick and mix your colours. Get the grey in. I do want to get a bit of green in this as well, I think. But I want to mix the green from turquoise, because I'm going to put a bit of yellow into it, because I want it to kind of fit in. So I've got a very vibrant green there from natural turquoise and natural yellow. There it is, beautiful. Don't want too much of this. A hint, a small little hint of green. I'm not going to put too much in because it is quite a vivid green, and it's not a vivid picture by any means. So just a little bit of that. And then I'm just going to use water, just water. I've tapped off the excess on the tissue, as the actress said to the What's-It, and then we'll bring that in. And we're going to blend it in so it becomes part of the thingy, the cliffs, you know. So it's quite a solid area. Now I'm painting this as a vignette with a faded edge, so I'm quite happy to leave that there. Very subtle little hint of green in that background cliff. Couple of little flicky lines just going in there, and then with a bit of water I can fade it in for continuity reasons. Now what we've got loitering around the studio is a little plastic card. This is not a hotel key card. You don't pinch hotel key cards, do you? You just don't do that. It's not something you should be doing. But what we can do is this, is we can go in and we can scrape off some colour. Look at that. Gives me goosebumps doing that. Bring it in. I'm wiping it off with my finger, by the way. And it's a lovely way to create some beautiful colours. The natural colours, folks, I'm so proud. The natural colours are now exclusive to watercolour.tv. We've developed new colours, we've enhanced them. Look at that, you've got a lovely little cliff. A cliff in the background. Recession. We caused recession in less than half an hour. What was his name? Gordon Brown? No, who? One of them anyway. But we'll not get political. We'll not get political. What we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to pick up the grey. I'm going to pick up the grey again, and we're going to go in and we're going to be slightly dry with the brush, tap it on tissue just to reflect a bit of this. And keep your lines horizontal. Beautiful. And that'll give us a hint of reflection. It's also a great opportunity to bring a little bit of that orange and the green into the water, because we've got that in the cliff, you see, and there's a bit of that in the sky. So a hint, I mean, I've got a bit over there anyway from when we did the initial background wash. What, a hint of that green, yeah, a little bit, but we don't want green water too much. It looked like Skeggy Beach. I love Skeggy, so do I. Beautiful, happy memories. We're going to go for grey. We're going to go for grey. Change the subject then, did you notice? I'm going to go in, bring a little bit of grey underneath this wave here. And just before we get Magic Mask off, we're going to bring in a few more little bits and bobs of that. You can see how Magic Mask works, can't you? It's gorgeous stuff. I've still got my turquoise there, get a little bit of that. Beautiful. The off-the-shelf turquoise is not very good for seascapes. This one is designed, it's actually called, if you look at it, it's actually called Seascape turquoise, so it's bang on for this. Just going to bring a few little bits of that in to make the water look a little bit more colourful. Sweep it in. Can't go wrong really, can you? Beautiful. I love that. So it's because that nice warm colour is actually bringing it quite forward, as you can see. I'm ready now to give it one final blast with the dryer before I take the fluid away. So I'm just going to give it dry. Again, this will be the third time we've attacked that with fluid. There we go. So we can now use something called a magic mask removal tool. These are very special, very special. These are exclusive to somebody, and it's this is it, that's it. And what you do is you go in and you give it a rub or a peel, because you can peel this stuff, it comes off so easy. You can use a rubber if you want, or a razor if you don't like friction, but you can see it comes off lovely. It just comes off without no effort. Nice because it doesn't take your pencil away as well. If you've got a rubber or a razor as well, you could always use that to give it an extra rub or a raise. Get the little fine bits off. But there you go. I'm just going to brush that into the onto the studio floor. It's knee deep down here, isn't it? Knee deep. There we go. So that's come off quite nicely. What I want to do next is I'm going to start to obviously paint the yacht or boat in next. That's my next stage of the project, and but you can see how effective it actually works, can't you, at this stage? It's a lovely thing to do. So for this, I want to be using, it is going to be 50 Shades of Grey. It's going to be 50 Shades of Grey. Keeping it very simple. Got my size 6 brush at hand, ready for action. Natural grey, good strong grey, to be fair. Don't be afraid to use it quite heavy. Use it nice and strong. And then we're going to tap the brush on a bit of tissue. Just helps the flow of it a little bit. And the idea is here that we're going to build this thing up from scratch. I will get kind of close in so you can see it. Sorry, the camera's wobbling because we're doing this live. So we're going to go in and we're going to work up from this back edge along the top of the wave first of all. All the way along the top of the wave. I'm also going to drop in the shadow on the inside of there. Where's your light coming from? Good question. Good question. So clean the brush at that point. A couple of taps on tissue. That was more like 3. And then water. I've actually got a finer brush. We do sell these on the website. These are the Watercolour TV Essentials. This is look how pointy that brush is. Remember, you can get 10% off all the products by using code 10OFF 10FF. Don't put any spaces in it. Or ART30, capital letters, ART30. And if you spend more than £15 with Search Press through my link, you can get some discounts on my books, which is great. Free shipping as well. So we're bringing that in. We'll do the same up here. Blend all this in. Natural grey is very fugitive, so it's really easy to reactivate it. Rotating the board is always going to be quite important. Clean brush, couple of taps, and then we're going to use this just to bring it in. We're going to cram this thing with detail. We'll do it little by little. Just want to make sure that it's nice and dark next to that wave just there as well. There we are. Okay, now this main sail, I'll put a shadow down this side. A little bit of darkness. I'm going to put a few sweeps going in like that. Clean brush. I'm using a good strong bit of grey here. Sweep it down. Just water. It's a lot easier to rotate your board when you do this kind of thing. It's like watching paint dry again, but do bear with us, folks. Do bear with us. It's now better to do it at 10 to 1 on a Monday afternoon if you're watching in the UK. You could watch Loose Women. What? Is it still on? If you're watching in different parts of the world, Loose Women is a TV show. It's not what you think. I got the pleasure of working with one of the loose women, Jenny Eclair, on a TV show a few years ago. We did a charity watercolour workshop for Marie Curie. We painted a daffodil. It was lovely. I got to teach Jenny Eclair and Penny Smith. Penny Smith. We're going to go in and make sure that's all nicely blend in. I also want to go in with the old detail for the mast. I'm going to cram this thing with detail, folks, in a bit, so don't worry. It'll improve with age. There's always stuff on boats, isn't there? Lots of little things, bits of stuff everywhere on boats. It's full of them. When this is dry, we're going to put a lot more detail into it as well. A lot more detail. We'll have another one of those cross masts coming through here. That's going to go out the other side of there. But really, I want to leave that. I will be back to the boat in a minute. I need it to have a little bit of time to dry. Just want to make sure it's nice and dark up there. I'm going to put a shadow down that centre. The stern, yeah? Is that the stern, the front? Let's come back a little bit with the camera, because I think we can actually start to bring some reflection in now, actually. I've not finished the boat, but I just need it to have a minute to do its thing. Just going to go in with a little bit of darkness down here. And we're going to reflect the little mast, just bringing it down. Like so. Okay, we'll be back to the boat in a minute or two. But what we want to do now is get that turquoise again. Very pale, very watery, natural turquoise. And I want to drop in some little shadows over some colour into the waves, basically. I'll do this with various colours, but just as a starting point, just to take any harsh white away, I just want to add a little bit of turquoise to it. So it's starting to give me that rolling wave effect. And using natural turquoise is the perfect colour for that. It was. The ones that go behind the boat, I want them to be in a little bit of a greyed state, so you can see that you've got depth to them. Get a bit of grey in there as well. I'm going to put some splashes on this in a bit. There we are. I'm just going to come back to the base of those little rocks there, just to make sure things are nice and dark. The bottom of the rocks, just using grey. Flick it up. That helps. It kind of helps things to balance a little bit. Now, I'm ready to put some rigging on and some super detail to this, but really, before I do anything, this picture, this boat needs a little bit of time to dry again. So what I want to do, folks, is just jump over to the heat gun, hair dryer, give it another quick blast with the dryer. I'm now ready to get those real fine little bits of detail into this boat, and this to me is what's going to make this thing look a lot more boat-like. Okay, I'm just using natural grey to start with. Quite a strong colour, quite a clean colour. And we're going to paint in all the little juicy bits of detail that I think the boat should have. So let me get a little bit closer in for you to this, because I think we need to be close into this to get this to work. So we're going to come down the centre here, thin lines. We're going to paint in the little bow sprit that would go up, obviously, in a second. Bring it up. Make sure the mast is nice and dark. Slightly dry brush to put a bit of texture on, including in the sails. So I'm basically adding texture, making use of the grain of the paper. That's giving us a lot more detail on the boat, even at that stage. For rigging, I want very little paint on the brush. Of course, rigging is quite important on a boat, but you don't need to completely put the whole chunk of rigging on. It's sort of like, if we bring that down, like that. So it almost kind of tapers away. It's quite effective when you get a bit of rigging on. I've just actually finished work on a book that's coming out next year with Search Press, all about boats and seascapes, and it's part of the Take 3 Colours series, so do look out for that being launched at some point in the not too distant future. Quite a nice looking boat at that point. I'm going to bring in a little bit more dark into the water. I want to go just slightly underneath some of these edges and almost create that little bit of a reflection as the boat's bouncing across the wave. So I'm actually using little horizontal streaks, almost kind of like a dry brush sort of thing. And if I continue that dry brush over the tops of these waves, it does make quite a difference, don't it? Even a little bit underneath there as well. Just a few little grey lines around. Get the water moving a bit more. Beautiful. Got a very pale grey here just to break some of these harsh edges of pure white. We don't want too much pure white on there. On a picture like this. Put a few seagulls. Well, actually that one's a bearded chuck, but it'll do. So Tapping a bit in the bottom of the cliffs for balance. Nice. Now, what I'd love to do with this, a bit to bring in some white. Now, there's white gouache, white acrylic, white watercolor is not great. My own white watercolor has the properties of watercolor, but with the added bonus that it's watercolor. So it's the properties of gouache, the properties of acrylic. I'm just going to pop a little blob of that just on the corner. Don't want too much of it, a little bit up there, because I'd rather use it not in the palette, ideally. So I'll just use it on a masking tape there. And what I want to do with the boat is put a little bit of white into it. Brighten it up a little bit. So like a little hint just coming down some of these edges. Great way to add a bit of life to your boat. Just on some of these corners. Sharpen up any edges. So almost like it's picking out the mast, you could say. Put a little flag or something at the top as well. And a few little dots and dabs around there, just to give it a little bit of interest. Splashes and splodges. Same at the bottom here as well. If I put like a little, like a butter curl effect, sort of doing that, you get the impression as if the wave just like sort of rolling back. White paint makes such a difference. It's great stuff to use. Even across the base of the cliffs. Like a lovely sort of summer evening coming through. I'll just keep adding a bit of water to it. That's all I'm doing. Just putting a bit of water with the white to freshen it up a bit. Pop a little line. Makes quite a difference when you put a bit of white. Just a little bit of white on the edge of the mast, it just makes it pop. There we go. I think we're just about there with that, you know. I think that's a finished picture, you know. I'm quite happy with how that's come together. So it's got a lovely focal point as far as the boat is concerned. Some gorgeous colours, turquoises, that kind of thing. Just going to pop the old signature on it. Just to prove that it's me that's done it. And I think we have a finished watercolour painting there, folks. Thoroughly enjoyed painting that. It was a nice one. Got some lovely levels of detail, but if I get close in with this camera, you can actually, if I move the camera to there, and I'll send you dizzy here, but you can actually see the little white bits You know, the little highlights down the edge really make it stand out nice. Makes a great focal point. White paint's brilliant. Love using white paint, you know, all the time. But there it is. That is the finished picture for today, folks. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's been a nice little chance to do a bit of spontaneous watercolour painting. Again, we're here with Search Press, and also I'm here with Watercolour TV. So thank you very much for watching.